Plum here, g'day champions, how's it going? And welcome back to this week's vendor reset, the greatest on the interweb. It's April 30th and today's vendor video will cover my top picks, hot ticket, interesting items and must buy gear for the week. Remember to show your support if you enjoy or find this video helpful, a simple like is all it takes, and if you're not already, please subscribe. Righto champions, it's time for the vendors, so let's get stuck in. Kicking things off this week, we're at the countdown vendor where we've got the artist tool with Perfect Rifleman. The rolls aren't too shabby on it, but there's better options. The sacrifice chest piece is pretty random, so I'd be passing on that, and the 0F's chest piece isn't too bad. You could keep the hazard protection on this one, or roll it off for crit hit chance and make yourself a shotgun build. Remember, all these items will cost you 75 countdown credits. Marco at the Haven this week is struggling. From what I can see, there's nothing really of interest, maybe this D50 if you're still looking at crafting the Liberty, but unfortunately nothing else. Next door, our old mate Roy normally is our saving grace, but unfortunately this week there's nothing of interest here either. So on to the next vendor. At your White House vendor this week, we do have the Chain Killer chest piece. This one does come with 11.2% weapon damage, explosive resistance, and weapon handling. I'd be swapping that explosive resistance for headshot damage, and it's pretty good. Unfortunately, everything else here is pretty average. I would be saving the rest of my credits. At your clan vendor this week, we've got the Invisible Hands. This one doesn't pop up at the vendors too often, so if you do need it, you can buy it. The Heartbreaker gloves, they're pretty good. They've got max armor on them already, so just roll that attribute to whatever you like. Any future gear is always good because it's always going to drop with a skill tier, so you can roll that skill damage to repair skills. The Black Market RPK here is pretty solid. It's got good LMG damage, damage to targets out of cover, roll on damage to armor, and if you can control it, Unhinged is a crazy good talent. And the other item that does tickle my pickle here are these Bellstone Armory gloves. The armor is a little bit low, they've got solid regen, and I would be swapping that weapon handling for either crit or even headshot damage. At the Theatre Settlement this week, we've got the Artist Tool again. Unfortunately, the only other thing that is worth checking out are these Providence knee pads. 11.8% weapon damage, they've got crit hit chance, and you can roll on crit hit damage here. Everything else is below average. Over at the Castle Settlement this week, we do have the Darkness. I'm not a fan of this one. Everything else here is pretty terrible, so I will be skipping it and saving my credits. At the campus, well, at least the vendors are consistent. There's not much going on. The only item that might be worth it is this Golem Mask. It's got armor, armor regen, swap the skill haste to either crit or headshot damage. Everything else is pretty terrible. Now for our Dark Zone vendors, starting at DZ West, where we've actually got the Death Grips. This is a DZ exclusive item, so it can be a little bit tricky to get for some. The rolls on it aren't spectacular, and it will cost you 152 DZ credits. The other item that is a DZ exclusive are these Yell Gloves. It's another item that's got pretty terrible rolls, but if you're desperate, here they are. Shooting on down to DZ South, where we've actually got the TDI KARD pistol. This is a fantastic pistol to have on any build because it's going to give you that extra skill tier. Unfortunately, everything else here is average, so I would again be saving my credits. And finally, to round off another underwhelming week at the Vendors Champions, we're here at DZ East, where we've got the Darkness again. However, this M700 Tactical is pretty okay. I would be swapping the damage to armor to damage to targets out of cover, and it already has Ranger on it. Unfortunately, everything else here is mediocre. And I'm sorry to say it, champions, but that's going to wrap it up for this week at the vendors. If you're interested in the daily targeted loot, it's on your screen now. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and make sure that you show your support by smashing the like button on this video, and if you're not already, please subscribe. Everyone's support is always greatly appreciated, and I do hope to catch you all in the next one. I'm Plum out.